Woohoo! Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm laughing because I had to brush teeth and put on her PJs. This is Hannah Bear. Before we got started, she's made her cameo. She's taken my Team USA cap, and now she's making a run for it. So that was Hannah Bear for the evening. We have a really special event here tonight, and I'm going to bring the energy down. And now she's looking like she wants back on camera. We have a really special event tonight on what I'm going to call the biggest lie in the history of humanity. Now, I am a love and light guy, so don't let the topic scare you. And we are going to go down and up and around the rabbit hole and bring everything back to a place of light. Now, I channel before any talk, and before this talk here this evening, I watched the full congressional hearings. I watched the second day of the congressional hearings. I watched the News National interview with David Grusch. I'm still not sure how to pronounce his name, but David, you're amazing. You're a hero to me. And I read many articles about this, and then I went quiet and I listened. And that's a big part of what I want to talk with you about tonight. So we're going to talk about what this biggest lie is, why this matters to you, what this matters for all of humanity, how this is going to change humanity. But there's a story beneath the story. And we really need to get into that tonight, because I don't care. If you have a pulse, I love you. I don't care if you're red, if you're blue, if you're green, if you're black, if you're asexual, bisexual, heterosexual, whatever sexual. I don't care about anything. We're all one. But what I'm watching going on right now, and this story, which is really the story of humanity, of UAPs and UFOs, and my wife is staring at me in the background, and she's making me very, very nervous. This story, it's okay. It's more important, even than whether there are UFOs and UAPs. And that is a very, very big deal. So tonight we're going to talk about the congressional hearings. We're going to talk about what's being said and what's not being said. But most importantly, we're going to talk about the battle that's on for your mind. And yes, I promise you, I will bring things back to love and light, for ultimately that is how we change the world. And that is why my wife was looking at me, probably from a place of love and light, and with Hannah Bear in her arms as well. So I spent many days diving into all of the testimony and reading it and listening to it and repeating it and trying to really get a deep understanding, a very deep understanding of what was going on from the whistleblowers, who are three very, very brave men who stepped forward before Congress. And first off, well, I should give you their names first off. We have Lieutenant Ryan Graves. We have David Grusch. I'm still working on the pronunciation of his name. An intelligence officer, a retired intelligence officer, was the rank of major, who had the most top secret clearance of clearance. And there's David Fravor, a retired commander and a pilot, an incredible pilot as well. These guys are heroes. They're heroes for stepping forward. They're heroes for putting their lives on the line. They're heroes who appeared before Congress under oath and gave testimony. It was very real what they shared, very truthful, very honest. And I believe what they shared will make a massive difference in each one of our lives. So there are two big stories going on, and we're going to talk about them individually here. But there is the one story that when the truth comes out about UFOs and UAPs, everything technologically changes. First off, think about the power system it takes to travel from one point in the galaxy or galaxies to another point. When we have that available for all of humanity, everything changes here on Earth. Everything changes. Secondly, when we know, not just from a cosmological point of view, but from a literal point of view, that we're not alone in the universe. This changes everything and changes the entire system of governance, everything, which is part of why it hasn't come out in this planet, on this entire planet. But there's also the story of the information behind the information. Right, Honey Bear? Who's coming over and walking right by the plug where she shut off the camera right before we went on air. Well, if you're going to sit there and you're going to join the show, well, we've got to put you on a pillow so that people can see you. And I'm going to give you the mouse, but I'm going to shut off the mouse. That way you don't disconnect the show. So what they said was truthful. It was honest. I believe it can make a big difference. But that's not what's actually in the media. And that's where I want to begin this story here tonight. And it's the same thing I teach in my School of Mystics. Discernment, understanding, and being able to see the real truth behind the smoke and mirrors. And I'm very positive about the world. I'm very positive about our outcomes. But let me lay it on the line bluntly. I know, Hannah Bear. I know we're being lied to. We're being manipulated. We're being, what do you want to call it? We're being dishonored by the very sources that we come to know and trust. And I'm not talking about the government here. Well, there go my notes. Well, this is exciting. Notes are flying everywhere. Oh, because Hannah Bear needs the phone. That's why. And if you expect this to be more professional than this girl is all my love. She is my everything. And everything that I do is about setting you free and making the world better for you and making the world better for her as well. The press is lying to us. And it doesn't matter whether you listen to Fox, ABC, NBC, Epic, anything. It doesn't matter. No one is telling us the true story. If you go and watch the congressional hearings and you compare it to anything that's out there, what you'll find is the reporting from La La Land. It's all smoke and mirrors designed to take our attention away from what matters most. And that's where we need to come together. That's where we need to have more discernment and to understand what's truly going on. She's like, oh, let me grab your notes. So I know. Oh, she has a new word here tonight. Can you say that word? Uh-oh. 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 No. Meow. Oh, she's gone quiet now. A new word for the day is uh-oh. Weeks ago, I had Dr. Stephen Greer on the show. And if you watch what he said, and it was just prior to this ceremony, uh-oh. 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 He predicted this. Exactly. He predicted what's coming out. He predicted how it would be maligned in the media. He predicted why or how our minds would be manipulated by exactly what we're seeing and what we're hearing. Now, when Dr. Greer was on the show, he talked about there being obviously UFOs. And I'm not even sure he's a fan of that term because it's a term of obscuration. What does that mean? Well, it's beyond that. It's a term of manipulation. That's the biggest part of what we're talking about here tonight. It's not just that there's a biggest lie in the history of mankind. It's the biggest manipulation in the history of mankind. And if I'm a very light and love guy, but if I sound pretty strong, I don't like you being manipulated. I don't like being manipulated. You watch the congressional hearings, and these three men came forth and not only shared their heart and soul or poured their heart and soul into this, but they came forth with documentation, with evidence, and top secret evidence that has to be shared and skiffed. But they came forward with all of this, putting their lives on the line. But if you go and read whatever media source you desire, It's going to make them out to be a joke. It's going to make them out to be a lark. It's going to make them out to be crazies. A major with 14 years of experience who is part of the head of our intelligence when it comes to UFOs and UAPs is being made out to be a crazy. It's completely bogus. The crazies are the people who are manipulating us with their articles. That's where I'm getting very strong about. Because I see not only is there a war or a battle for our minds when it comes to UFO and UAPs, to keep us thinking that we're small, to keep us disempowered, to keep us from free energy, to keep us from the truth. But there's also a battle going on to tear apart America, to say the least, if not the entire world, with disinformation campaigns pitting one person against the other. And it's a time where we have to come together with discernment. We have to read the articles and saying, why is it being written this way? What is being done? Why are they pulling on my heartstrings? What's the money source behind this? Why are they doing this? The congressional hearings were brilliant. And they talked about some very important things. They talked about the fact that UFOs and UAPs are real. They talked about the fact that we, America, and probably other countries as well, have in our possession alien, or what was the term that he used? Non-human intelligence, NHI, aircraft, vehicles that we're re-engineering. So it's impossible even to tell from the outside, is this craft from outer space, or is it from us, from humanity? Which, of course, could lead to wars or who knows what, but it's there. We even have downed craft and bodies of extraterrestrials that have been killed. All of this stuff is real, and it was all coming out before Congress. And Congress was blown away by the testimony and going, oh my God, we've got to find out about this. Oh my God, we've got to find out about that. Oh my God, we've got to find out about this other thing. David Grusch, the intelligence officer, former intelligence officer, he retired in order to do this, or he stepped down in order to do this, put his career not only on the line, he risked his health, risked his life, his family's life, was threatened, was attacked, and on it goes. He has so much information, but I know people with top secret clearance. Even though he stepped down, he still has top secret clearance. If he speaks publicly and goes across the lines of top secret clearance, he goes to jail like that. He's just out of here. So he went as far as he could on every topic and said with each congressman or congresswoman, I'll go to a SCIF, a secure location where we can talk about this, where it's not going to be made public. I'll go to the SCIF, I'll go to a SCIF, I'll go to a SCIF. I'll get you a list of those in opposition, those in support. And what happens is instead what comes out in the press is he wouldn't tell people what was really going on. Why? Well, because he was under oath. And so he couldn't make up or fabricate stories under oath. Read the stories and you'll see that they belittle him. They make him less than, and they make him seem like a quack. Well, guess what's a quack? There's an out of control, dark shadow government. That's the real threat. It needs to be dealt with immediately. You can see it in a Pentagon budget. You can see it. Heck, there was a congressman in this hearing who said that the Pentagon loses over $1 billion a year. Over $1 billion can't be found each and every year. And in their budget, they have all of these top secret classified programs where you can't find out, a program like Grandpa Slippers. You can't find out what it actually is, what it actually means, what it actually does. And the money is vacuumed away. There is a dark shadow government. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm bringing everything into the light. That's what they're doing. I'm just helping expand upon what they're doing so that we all dig deeper and dig into the truth. This stuff is real. The question is, if there's a shadow government that has this money, if there are programs, David Grusch, David Grusch and I believe Lieutenant Ryan Graves, but David is sure for sure, said there's been a program in the US for 90 years of hiding this information. If this is even, and there is, he came public or brought forth a 1971 treaty we had with the Soviet Union regarding UAPs so that we wouldn't start a war if UAPs were flying over their missile sites or if UAPs were flying over our missile sites. So governments back in 1971 had treaties on this that have been since made public. The real threat is the lack of discernment that you and I have when we're reading the news, a lack of being able to tell what's the real truth, a ease at which we are manipulated by the press and by the media with smoke and mirrors. It's subtle. You'll start to read an article about the congressional hearings, and it'll start almost with cracking a joke, or it'll talk about UFO fanatics or UFO crazies. It's planting a seed. So the best way to read these articles is almost to read the articles blindfolded. Michael, how do you read an article blindfolded? You read it from a feeling state, read it from a feeling sense. I had the most amazing interview today with Jude Caravan. It will come out next week on, is this a holographic universe? Is this a simulation? And I won't have a spoiler alert here. You'll get to watch it to find out. However, what we talked about is the scientific validity, truth, and proven ability of intuition. You read the articles from an intuitive place. You read the beginning of the article where they're making fun of UFOs and UAPs and people who are interested in them. Roswell was real. David Grusch came forward on that. There's actually been reports. Well, first there were reports fabricated in this Project Blue Book, but there are actually reports as to the reality of this. But the start of each article, it follows a formula, is about quackery. If you read that and you feel into it, you go, something's wrong here. Why are they making fun of this subject? Why aren't they talking about this subject maturely or intelligently? And then you get further into the article and it'll talk about each of them individual, particularly David, and talk about how, well, he's not coming forward with the information that he gave on, for instance, an interview with News Nation. They plant a seed of distrust. Then they'll go back to quackery. Then they'll go to another seed of distrust. Then you'll give you some information that he did share. But then nearly every single article finishes on the same note. If there is this real conspiracy that's taken place for 90 years, how could it be possible when the government can't keep any secret for even 90 minutes? And they completely discredit everything. UFOs, UAPs, real. We ain't alone. We have re-engineered vehicles. We have recovered bodies. The majority of the spacecraft that you see, when you see them, and they say at least 20% of people worldwide have had a UFO sighting. The majority of them, they're ours. Now, according to the testimony, there is no direct means for reporting this to anyone. And if you report in the military that you saw a UAP, there goes your career. If you report as a commercial pilot, and this was a big part of the hearing, is how do we have a means of reporting this so this information doesn't disappear? If you report as a commercial pilot, you may be sanctioned and may have retributions from your commercial pilot company, your airline, against you. And of course, we know that if you come forward as a private individual or civilian citizen, you're made out to be a crazy. Well, guess what's crazy? First off, everything that's going on around this, not the hype around it. That's well deserved. Not the Senate, the committee, and the House meetings that are taking place in public, and certainly even more behind closed doors. That's not crazy. Hiding this power, hiding this truth, hiding our place in the global community. Let's go beyond globe because that implies a small sphere. In the universal community. That's the craziness. So, in a world filled with shadows, let's put it this way. I have shaman energy. You have shaman energy too. We're all ascendant masters that came here to play a higher level game. My game as a shaman is to bring you into a world of light, to bring the shadows into the light. I see increasing light on this planet. I see us becoming brighter and brighter and brighter, and a global shift of humanity. What you're witnessing right now with the congressional hearings is that shift. Now, it's actually coupled to political events that are trying to suck us back into the muck and mire, that are trying to tear us apart. This is so important to recognize the similarities going on. The press and the media, I'm not picking on anyone or anything, and they have a powerful, positive role to play, but they're being used against us to keep us in the dark. For humanity to shift, it takes one thing and one thing only. It takes a higher level understanding, or a frequency change, a vibratory change, a change to a higher level. If we understand there are UFOs, there are UAPs, that we are not alone in the world, and that they've even been working with us. David Grusch was talking about agreements made between us and other civilizations, which he said he could go into detail in those skiffs. Agreements. If we understood that, it changes the very notion of I'm just human, I'm weak, I'm powerless, I came here by accident, I came from the earth, I'll return to the earth, but that's all I am. It changes all of it. Here's the challenge. When any great change takes place, and right now, okay, we lost Rue, and for many of you know Rue. He was my wingmate, my partner in arms, my rooster who went with me everywhere, and I don't mean that metaphorically, literally, rooster who went with me everywhere. And he transitioned a couple weeks ago, and try not to cry here. My world is in a cluster fudge of change. Technical term, cluster fudge of change. And I love you, Rue. I love you, Rue. I love you, Rue. I love you. It's not all bad. Change is good. Change is great. Change elevates you. If you lean into change, if you embrace change, you'll find goodness, even greatness in it. However, the ego doesn't like change. The ego will take a billy club to you to try to keep you in the ways of the old. Well, if we can stop thinking about humanity as individuals, and we think of us as one human beingness, then we have an egoic mind. We have an ego. And that ego, we can call that the dark shadow government. We can call that the commercial interests that want to keep the technology to themselves. We can call this even those who wish to use this technology, these scalar weapons, as came out with Stephen Greer, use that to go to other planets and other galaxies. Holy crap. That is the ego gone awry, the ego of humanity kicking and fighting to go back to the way things were and to hold on to power at all cost. And it ain't gonna work. So whoever are the powers that be, whatever are the powers that be behind modern media, behind the press, they're kicking and fighting with everything they've got to keep this under wraps. Well, guess what? I've got Sir Meowsers on the other end of the table. The cat is out of the bag. There are UFOs, there are UAPs, there are extraterrestrials here on Earth right now. And humanity is evolving and it's changing. And the secret programs, I'm going to call them formerly secret, soon to be formerly secret programs, in possession of technology and energy resources, that's going to come out. And what's really cool is the majority of what we're seeing is actually us, which means we know how to use free energy. It already exists. Of course, we get to bring it out before everything is weaponized, which makes it difficult for our neighbors in space. That's what Dr. Stephen Greer is talking about, concerned about. But we get to bring it into the love and into the light. So, yes, a comment just came in. This Thursday, will be Jude Caravan on Are We Living in a Simulation? That's coming out this Thursday. My timeline is a little bit off with all of the travel that we have been doing lately. I love looking at synchronicities and timings of things. It's something that Jude Caravan and I talk about as well, because there's a science behind synchronicities. If one person has a brilliant idea, somebody else is going to come out with it at the same time, and it becomes a horse race or a foot race to get the idea out first. That's the fascinating thing taking place right now with this, and I haven't caught the latest on it, with this superconductors at superconductor technology at room temperature, which, if that turns out to be true, and it does appear to be so, and there's some very brave individuals who, rather than going for their own personal gain, put it out there for others to test. How does it get any better than this? That's what we need. Put it out there, see if it works. They'll get the Nobel Prize for it if it works. And at the same time, we'll all have almost free energy, because almost all energy is lost in heat and resistance. So if you get rid of that, hello, changes everything. At the same time, one group came out with it, another group came out with it. At the same time, I wrote a particular book on running over a decade ago. Another book came out almost at the same exact time on the same exact technique. Hello. One person comes forward on UAPs at the same time another person does, not even knowing each other. All of this is by construct, not by accident. Now, right now, well, as of 3 weeks ago, it's probably a lot more. When Stephen Greer did his national press conference, there were 748 whistleblowers ready to step forward or give sworn statements. 748. Why so many? Because the universe will get through the ideas that are needed at just the right moment and not a moment before. So when you see these congressional hearings and you go, well, this is just foo-foo, this is fluff, this is going to blow over, it ain't going to blow over. This is the start, not just of a massive snowball. This is the start of uncovering the NORAD, uncovering the city within the mountains, uncovering, I want to say Atlantis, something huge. And there's going to be meeting after meeting. I already know they're taking place. Meeting after meeting, sworn testimony behind closed doors, sworn testimony. It's not that David wasn't going to give testimony on the record. It's that he couldn't divulge top secret secrets. Top secret, yeah, top secret information. He's the man. And he's going to help set us free. The reason that so many people are coming forward this time, the reason that so many incidents have been exposed, the reason that so many sites have come to light is because the darkness is being brought into the light. And the inevitable conclusion of this is that the truth will come out. That's huge. Now, there are common themes or common threats in the news that get to be addressed because we're being duped. I'm going to use strong terms here tonight. Again, I'm a love and light guy, but I want to wake us up. I want us all to be able to read the news, read our notes, and have discernment to go, I can tell that's bogus. I can see through that. They're saying, well, you should be a skeptic and be skeptical that we're anything but alone in the universe. Are you kidding me? The odds are zero that we're alone. The odds are zero that we're not being visited. The odds are zero that this technology doesn't exist. You can go back in the Vedas. You can go back 5,000, 10,000 years ago, and you can find drawings of UFOs and stories about them and weapons, our weapons, before we had a war, a Holocaust. It's a whole story we can go to. Humanity has been here before. Humanity will be here again. If we are smart and sharp and discerning, we will see that our friends and brothers have been here this whole time. Now, because of our abilities with nuclear weapons, starting in, well, they started to come forward. Is it Mussolini had a program in the 30s in Italy to capture down spacecraft? Mussolini had a program in the 30s to capture down spacecrafts, which then made their way over to the US, from what I understand. And in the 1940s, I believe we used that technology. When nuclear weapons came out, more visitors came here because that was actually dangerous for all of the universe, or for all of our neighbors in the universe, at least. And we actually downed spacecraft, Roswell. Then we re-engineered that spacecraft. And since the 40s, we've had our own, or 50s at least, had our own spacecraft zipping around. So we've been lied to. We've been duped. The men who came forward, we've been told, are quacks, that their story is not believable. But they are believable, and it's important to understand this. It's important to understand that we're not alone in the cosmos, that our friends and brothers are here to help us. Key point. What I saw in the congressional hearings, the majority of it was very, I'm going to say positive. I was going to go with the word benign, but I'm going to go with the word positive. Congressmen and congresswomen feel they've been duped too, and they want to get to the bottom of this. And as they've tried to get to the bottom of it, they've hit not glass ceilings, but they've hit closed door after closed door, person who wouldn't speak after person who wouldn't speak. And they're going, but wait, we have top secret clearance. We are the government. And they're like, well, not about this, you aren't. I believe that's going to change. So the majority of the congressmen and congresswomen have been just in the dark as we are. Because what's going on is by a shadow government, meaning out of congressional eyes, out of congressional oversight, money with no leadership, at least no public leadership, which can be really dangerous. At the same time, while most of it was benign, there were a few people who stepped forward to scare the pants off of you and me, to say why we need more money in the military, why we need more money to fight this enemy. If UAPs were an enemy, we'd be gone at the very start of things. It'd be like, I don't know, we have slingshot technology compared to the nuclear bomb, put it in perspective. If they wanted us gone, if they wanted our planet, if they wanted our whatever, they could do it like that. It ain't about that. There are cosmic neighbors and brothers, some of them probably more enlightened than others, but all going, well, I hope they make it through, and all doing their part to help us to make it through, but knowing right now the game is attempted to be weaponized. So there is that interest in the US government, the known US government, that wants to use this for weapon systems, that wants to use this for more money for weapon systems, wants us to keep us, and this is the name of the game today, in a place of fear. I'm not bringing you to a place of fear. There's a lot of love and light here. They want to bring you to a place of fear. Why? Well, it's been known since Hitler. It's been known since Mussolini. It's been known since whomever. You can go way back, way to the Roman history and before. If you can keep a people in a state of fear, then you've got control over them. UAPs, UFOs aren't about fear. It's not about them coming forward with weapons. That's not what this is about. This is about them coming forward to say, hey, guys, we're here. Welcome to the cosmos. We want to invite you. You need to get a little more of your house in order, but we are here and ready and waiting. And so if you watch the testimony, which at no point did they belittle anybody, at no point did they have anything but the utmost respect for the whistleblowers, which means the whistleblowers were already vetted to be able to come onto the Hill and speak. They were already vetted. And yet, whether it's a USA, well, whatever publication you want to call it, they're made to be quacks. But there was a select number of individuals there that brought it to a place of fear, that brought it to a place of worry, that brought it to a place of concern, to control you, to control me, to control the dialogue. I want you to become aware of this. That's why I want you to read with your eyes closed. Listen to me with your eyes closed. I'm certainly the farthest thing from the be-all, end-all. I don't know, have a clue of what's going on behind closed doors. I can feel into it. I can go to a higher level room and get a general perspective, but I have absolutely no idea except from a feeling state. And that feeling state, if you tap into it, will show you what is right and wrong, what is truth, what is lies, and what is really going on. So we don't have to trust our leadership. We don't have to believe that the US government is finally telling us the truth. We all know it's a little bit of a shady institution, to say the least. But there are good people in there who want to get to the bottom of this, even if it's for self-preservation. If somebody wants to stay in office and it turns out that that something was exposed on their watch and they didn't look into it, that's not so good. If they find out that it's a risk to all of their constituents and everybody could be harmed, that's no good. So There is no way to get the genie back in the bottle. There is no way for them to unforget what's going on. Things exist. There's a shadow government. The entire world will change when this comes out. And yes, there have been attacks on witnesses. There has been a program of discrediting. There have been people who have been killed, who have disappeared. But the truth has finally come out, and Congress is taking them seriously. So what we get to do is take steps as individuals here to take this seriously as well, from a place of love and light. Not just, it doesn't have to be that your mission is to get UAPs out into the open. It's happening. Can we call our congressman or congresswoman and push them along? Sure, but it's happening. The bigger picture message, first off, thank these individuals, not just the 3 who testified, but the 748 plus. Thank them, send them love, say prayers for them, do whatever it is in your heart to send them good, positive energy, because they put their lives on the line. But what it means beyond that is that we get to have discernment now about anything and everything we read. I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. I don't really dive deep into most news stories. Why? They're manipulative, they're controlling, and you feel your energy hit the floor. But I will read almost every headline I can get my hands on. Why? Because I look at where I'm being pulled, how I'm being pulled, and the trickery that is being played on you and me. Because if you can see the trickery and you don't dwell on the trickery, then you're free from the trickery. That's what's important here today, is how to free ourselves from the trickery that's being played on us. So, are there UAPs? Yes. Are there weapon systems? Yes. Are there re-engineered things? Yes. Are there energy sources that drive these vehicles? Yes. Do we have a system where people can properly report these things? No. Are people ridiculed and made fun of? And has there been a government program to keep this under wraps? Yes. However, is it dangerous if these things aren't brought under control? Yes. But what's most important is the manipulation, is the battle for our minds. That's what's most important. So I go back to this battle that's going on in politics right now. Like I said, not a political bone in my body. Love everyone. I can see this tearing apart the very fabric of the US. So I have a degree. I rarely consciously use it, but I have a few degrees. I have a degree in business. I have a degree in computers and in science. So I look at this from the mind of a scientist, but I also look at this from the mind of a political scientist, because that was my first degree in political science. And I look at the battle going on for our minds. I look at how we're being torn apart, and I look at what the press is doing on both sides. There are no sides to manipulate us, and how we're being pulled farther and farther and farther apart. Guess what? You and I, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're simpatico. It doesn't matter what's the what. It doesn't matter what you believe in. Even if you believe in the exact opposite, I don't even know what's the exact opposite of what I believe in. Even if you believe that we don't breathe oxygen, I'll still love you. I can love you no matter your beliefs. Even if you believe that everybody who breathes oxygen is a bad person, I'll still love you. It doesn't matter. But we're taught to do something else. We're taught to be angry. We're taught to have righteous indignation. We're taught to follow and read the stories and get into a different emotional state that then controls us. If we do that, this place is going to be torn apart. This country is going to be torn apart. This little blue dot, as Carl Sagan once said, is going to be torn apart. If instead, when we ingest this stuff, we go, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't look like, I'm not going to read this anymore. I'm not going to pay attention anymore. I'm not going to support this anymore. Or I'm going to talk about what's the real truth. Now we're getting to a message of love and light. That's how these 3 whistleblowers ended it. Let's have full transparency. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's find ways that we can use this technology to help every human being here on Earth. And sure, let's find a way to travel and go to other galaxies and explore this beautiful place on top of healing this amazing planet. That's what is possible. When we wake up, when we see the manipulations and we see the war that's on for our minds. Now, we're taught to be skeptics. And that's also part of what I talked about with Jude Caravan, because the healthy skeptic doesn't believe there's anything outside of science, doesn't believe there's anything outside of Sir Isaac Newton's apple falling and hitting him on the head. Well, guess what? Sir Isaac Newton was an alchemist. He was considered the last great alchemist. He believed in manipulating energy. He believed in spirit and source and universe and oneness and unity and all of the things that we're told to be skeptical of. Be skeptical of the person who tells you you must be skeptical. I'm like, am I in danger of that? Be skeptical of the articles that tell you you must be skeptical. Instead, we must be open. And articles that are even saying, well, be open, and then they're snicker, snicker, jeer, jeer, make fun of. They're manipulating you. That's really what this talk tonight is about, is how you watch the congressional hearings and you don't see the majority of U.S. congressmen and congresswomen manipulating us. Again, there were the few, bringing it to fear, bringing it to weapons. But the majority of what you see is when you compare that to the articles that are out there, you see that the greatest quackery is what we're reading and considering the news. That's the greatest quackery. That's what keeps us in fear. So what do? We read things that bring us up rather than bring us down. We write things that bring us up rather than bring us down. We talk to each other in ways that bring us up instead of bring us down. How do you end a shadow government? I've got to have a light on this thing somewhere. Go to the light. That's what you get to do. Bring light to everything. We're all on one team. The team of humanity, the team of oneness, the team of you and me, and the team of love. And it's not just a warm and fuzzy, it's the truth. These whistleblowers came forth, risked their lives out of light and love to help protect pilots' lives, to help to protect military lives, because think about it. If there's a guy in an F-14, an F-18, an F-35, an F whatever flying around, and all of a sudden he sees a big giant sphere with a square inside of it, the size of a football stadium, and doesn't know what to do, holy crap. This is to protect lives of individuals, of the government, of the military, of civilians, and all of humanity as we are at a crossroads. A crossroads where we get to decide, are we going to go to the dark side? Are we going to roll all the way down that hill into oblivion, out of fear, out of anxiety, and out of manipulation? Or are we going to bust this thing wide open, like cracking your heart wide open and bringing things into the light? What does this mean? We get to ask for, we get to demand the truth. We get to support those who are looking for the truth. We get to step back from the news and the headlines and feel what's pulling into the hearts and feel into the stories before we even read them. You can literally go to a title of a story and feel into it. Now you can go, but Michael, you're talking about the biggest lie. I felt into that, and that didn't feel right. Well, certainly there's a heaviness, but as you watch this, does it feel like I'm trying to manipulate you? Or does it feel like there's a truth, a commonality to this? Heck, try to bring us all into the light. And you get to speak your truth. There is a war on for your heart. There is a war on for your mind. There is a war to keep you in a state of fear, to keep you control of you. But let's bring it to the spiritual side of things. Let's bring it to you're an all-powerful energetic being having an energetic experience in human form. Heck, there are all-powerful energetic beings having an energetic experience in non-human intelligence form, in extraterrestrial form, in rooster form, in dog form, in cat form. Doesn't matter. You and I are ascendant masters. On the other side of the veil, we are enlightened. We know everything. We come here and we forget it all. And we're being indoctrinated to forget it. Right now, humanity has an ability to wake up to who and what she really is. And we are so much more powerful. So much more powerful. My God, are we more powerful than we ever believed? We are uncontrollable. We are unstoppable. We're energetic beings and enlightened ones at that, having an energetic experience in human form. It means you're the creator, you're all powerful. And if you knew who and what you are, you'd become unstoppable. And the powers that be do not want you to be unstoppable, because if you're unstoppable, then they lose your power. When you read those articles, what do you feel? Well, you feel basically like you're in the presence of Dracula and you're being swizzle sticked away. Like all the energy is being drawn out of you. And it's true. The energy is being taken away there. So we need to bring it back to love and light. We need to basically, how did Einstein put it? True learning is what begins, I'm paraphrasing, true learning is what begins once we forget everything we learned in school. Basically, once we're uneducated. We have been untaught as to who and what we are since we first arrived on planet Earth. We have been untaught as to who and what we are since we got to school. We have been untaught as to our true power each and every article we read. But now I need to unteach you that you're powerless, unteach you that you're just human, unteach you about the fears and the worries and concerns. The powers that be say, if the truth came out, if it was really true that there were UFOs and ETs and UAPs, it'd be the most shocking thing in the world. No, the most shocking thing in the world is the war on for our minds, and that we are being untaught as to who and what we truly are. That's where we get to stop right here, right now. It's to recognize the truth that we're being manipulated and that we can all come together and live together as one in harmony at the highest level, free from tyranny, free from manipulation, free from the shackles and heaviness, free from the wars. Do you think any individual wants to go out and just kill another individual? Well, you're on one side of the fence. I'm on the other side of the fence. Hold on while I load my rifle. No. We've been taught and trained and indoctrinated in that. Well, you must remember history, and your people killed my people since the beginning of time. So hold on, let me go load my gun. No. That's all a story that's been shoved down our throat to manipulate us to keep those in power in power. Real power, true power is going to come from us linking hands, arm in arm. That's real, true power. That's the power that comes from, I encourage you, watch some part of the hearings, go read an article, watch some more of the hearings, go read another article. The two don't even match even remotely closely, because I'm being lied to and manipulated, not by the House of Congress, but I'm being lied and manipulated by the quote unquote free press. And suddenly, even the term woke has been stolen. What the heck? Suddenly you will wake up to a higher level reality. You will become discerning maybe too. You will become discerning. You will become clearer of mind. You will ask bigger questions about what you're seeing and hearing. And many ways you can't help but set yourself free once you start comparing the two. And so while UFOs and UAPs is literally the biggest lie that we've ever been, the biggest lie of all of humanity, that we're alone. And UFO and UAPs, once we understand the truth, will change everything about this world. We need to get at the heart of our manipulation and our easy ability to be pulled one way or the other, or even this will be used against us. And that's Dr. Stephen Greer's biggest fear, is that there would be a false flag event where all of the reverse engineered aircraft that we do have will be made to look like there's an invasion, so that all of our power can be usurped or taken away into a totalitarian regime. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm saying to rise above such a possibility, we get to go to a place of love and light now. We get to free our minds now. We get to free our neighbors' minds now. We get to come to a place of love now. We get to go past a place of fear now. The most serious topic is not UFOs and UAPs. It's the freedom of our minds. because you are a creator. You are the God within. You are the divine. I don't care your religion, your philosophy, your anything. You're pure magic, just as powerful as any extraterrestrial, just as powerful as any UAP, just as powerful as any weapon, anything, except you're pure love, just by radiating your goodness into the world and not letting yourself be swizzle sticked away by that negativity. That to me is a mighty, mighty woohoo indeed. So on that note, I want to take some of your questions here tonight. Probably not going to do a meditation here tonight. Not sure if that's a space, but let's feel into it. And we did just fly back from a trip to New Hampshire, so we're admittedly a little bit tired at the moment, but this seemed so important. I wanted to get this information out to you tonight. All right. From Kelly Harris. I've been listening to the messages on YouTube, supposedly from extraterrestrials. Yesterday, I came across one that said that there are extraterrestrials who are bad and are posing as good. I want to find out more about that because they're sending beautiful messages, but if they're just posers, I want to know that. Well, Kelly, I can't speak to who or what you're hearing from. And there are different discussions. I'm going to give you my belief, my take on this, just Michael's. There are discussions about, well, just because you're a higher level technology or have a higher level technology doesn't mean that you're benevolent. And I, in my naivete, take disagreement with that, because if you have the ability to blow yourselves up and you don't, you must have learned something. Yeah, well, maybe we won't blow ourselves up, but we'll blow somebody else up. Well, then there would have been somebody on your planet that you needed to blow up, and then they would have blown you up and you wouldn't have gotten here. Now, there's probably different levels of how much extraterrestrial civilizations are here to help us. I'll certainly buy that. And there's different levels, not like I'm a level 1 extraterrestrial, I'm a level 3. No, but there's different levels of evolution of extraterrestrials. In fact, we are extraterrestrials. We didn't come from here. We'll learn that over time. We did not come from here. You can look at and understand DNA and junk DNA, and you can understand that there is no connection between us and apes. And you'll go, wait a second, where did we come from? And that's a whole story for another day. And that will come out too. And I'm not saying, well, look, Michael's now saying we're not from here. They completely discredit him. Do the research, do your homework, be discerning. That's what's most important. Are there extraterrestrials posing as good who are really bad? I don't buy it. However, are there UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, who have potentially done bad things? Or there's been a whole program of alien abduction. I believe, and Dr. Stephen Greer believes, that that's actually been a domestic program to scare us, to fear us, to have a disinformation campaign to keep us in a state of fear. But that's not actually the extraterrestrials. You don't need to fly, billions, trillions, who knows how many light years and further away to find a people and then to do subtle, tiny little tests on them. You probably got all the information you need before you even flew there. Miss Patty, I've heard that ETs think we're not ready for them. What do we need to do to be ready? Miss Patty, I think we need to get this out into the light. So if any of this is real, Miss Patty, and let's go to Dr. Stephen Greer and his testimony and his disclosure project. And that was really an impetus, I believe, for David Grusch and for these very brave folk who've stepped forward. It would suggest that part of this uncontrolled budget or shadow government or whatever you want to call it has these weapons, and he calls them scalar weapons from a technology called scalar technology. That if it comes forward that is true, and it certainly looks to be the case, and I do recommend his most recent documentary, which is escaping my mind, and I know people will put it in the chat right here, the name of his documentary. It suggests that at this point, we have the ability to shoot UAPs out of the sky, and eventually, and maybe already now, to harm other civilizations and other planets. That's a very big deal. That's a very big deal. So ETs have been watching us, waiting for us to come onto the global stage, meaning to bring forth our love and light as we're entering a new technological era. And I believe they've gently tried to guide us. David Grusch talked about UAPs coming to nuclear missile facilities. And my assumption and my understanding is that they even helped prevent things such as the Cuban Missile Crisis from turning into a full-blown Holocaust. They're doing what they can with what they have. If they step forward too much right now, that may be used by these shadow governments as a sign that they're taking over the world and used against extraterrestrials, if that makes any sense, turned into a black flag or false flag event. So they're treading very carefully. I do believe that Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, had it right when he talked about a prime directive, which means that until a civilization, until humanity, for instance, has reached a certain level of evolution, that ETs cannot step in and get involved. I believe that's where we're at. What do we need to do to get ready or to be ready? First, bring this into the light. Secondly, be in the light. In other words, it's both an inside job, Miss Patty. We get to shift on the inside and get out of this fear-based state, get out of this me versus you state, get out of this state, which if you read the news, it's all about, and I don't care what side you're on, it's all about me versus you. And they're looking at it going, oh my God, will they make it through this? I hope they don't blow themselves up. We got to get past that and get to a place of loving ourselves, healing ourselves, and loving and healing each other and healing all of humanity. That's what this is about. That's what this empowerment is about. Bringing it back to that place of love and light, not of a kumbaya warm and fuzzy. Love is all powerful. Look at India. Look at Gandhi. Look at what took place. Look at what's possible when we come together for something rather than against. I didn't say go against anyone. I didn't say go against anything. I said bring it all out into the light. That is when they go, oh, they're ready. And they are waiting. Chip Whitehouse. Oh, what a beautiful name, Chip. How can we help? I feel called to want to spread this information, but not sure how I can. So many people still don't believe. Is there anything we can do to help? Chip. So certainly you can share this right here. You can share the interview with Dr. Stephen Greer. You can share the documentary from Dr. Stephen Greer. You can share by sharing what's on your heart. It's never a good idea, a good word. Very careful about my words. If people aren't ready, we can plant seeds. We cannot force them. We cannot push them. But if they're open, we can share what we're feeling. Understand, Chip, energy trumps, I want to say energy trumps science. Energy trumps information, which is an irony because energy is information and information is energy. However, if I say, you need to look at that, you go, eek. If you're like, wow, that was the most, wow, that was just the coolest thing that I learned. What? Tell me about it. Yeah. That's your love, your light, and your energy. That's what you can do. Now, Chip, we get to support everybody in Congress. We get to support everyone in the Hill. We get to send letters. We get to send emails. We get to encourage them to keep diving deep. And I don't believe they're going to stop now, no matter what. But we get to do that. We get to thank the whistleblowers. We get to share this information with everyone everywhere. And here's what's most important, Chip. And this is the topic we haven't really covered tonight. This is what I dive into in our School of Mystics. Chip, we get to be the creators of this world. That's also what I'm talking about with Jude on Thursday. What does that mean? It means, and the powers that be know this. They know this. Where you place your attention is what you will bring about. If we focus entirely on gloom and doom and we're screwed and we're this and we're that, and there's this dark, shadowy, blah, 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 that's going to do this, guess what? We might want to hide under the table. If instead, Chip, we go, oh my God, the truth is coming out. Everybody's starting to know this. It's spreading like wildfire. Soon this technology is going to be out there. There's going to be this amnesty program, and people, even though it didn't even seem possible, are going to come forward. And there's going to be this global shift of humanity. That's what this is, Chip. This is a global shift of humanity. Has the shift begun? Yeah. Is the shift hitting the fan? Yeah. Is it coming at us from every direction? Yeah. Is it coming at us together all at once? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it like the two people on opposite sides of the planet who come up with the idea at the same time and then something comes forth both from both of them at the same time? Yeah, and yeah. We look at the timing. This is a magical time here on Earth, but we get to envision what we want, Chip. You're the creator. You're the creator, Chip. Everybody watching this, you are the creator. The press knows this. The powers that be know this. The big bad matrix, whatever we want to call it, knows this. If they can control their minds, they've got you. And they're going to create a nightmare, a hellstorm, a storm here on Earth. If we instead focus on something different, if we focus on heaven and earth, if we realize we won the lottery to be here, no matter how difficult it seems, if we realize that we are capable creators of creating the most incredible, spectacular, unbelievable existence in co-creative happiness, unity consciousness, with ETs, with UAPs, with all of this, Chip, that is what we're going to bring about, because our feeling state is our creative power. That's the highest level where we can play this game. And thank you so much for asking, Chip. Stardust. This goes to a similar question from before. From my understanding, they're both benevolent ETs and malevolent ETs. Is this the consensus? How does humanity fare in all of this? So from a head perspective, it may or may not be the consensus. From a heart-based perspective, that does not appear to be the case at all. Again, if they manage to get past that squeeze point that humanity is in and not blow themselves apart, then they're quite a bit more benevolent than we are. Doesn't mean you have to give them the keys to your caddy or the keys to your home or your keys to your kids. But I would send them all the love and light we can. How does humanity fare on this? Well, Stardust, I believe we're going to make it through. I believe there's a bifurcation. There's a choice that humanity gets to make. But I believe that choice has already been made, and I'm watching it unfold. We can call this the Great Reset, the Global Reset, or simply call this the Great Unfolding. An unfolding as to sort of like we've all gotten cards in the past, which was a piece of paper folded in half and folded in half and folded in half and folded in half. And you start to unfold it, and there's something magnificent there. That's what humanity is doing right now. This is the great unfolding of our species on the world stage. From Mary Parker, does the wisdom of the universe determine that it's time for the real truth of the existence of non-human beings? Yes. So Mary, again, goes to Jude Caravan's interview on Thursday. We're talking about a universe. So the old school theory, it was sort of when science was the religion of science. I don't know another way to describe it. There was this old school theory that it's just purely a mechanistic universe. I guess it was a 19th century science where we're stuck in today. It's all a mechanistic universe. We are all by accident. We are all alone in this cold, brutal, cruel world. And that's all there is. And if that were the truth, then everything breaks down, everything goes to a state of chaos, everything goes to a state of entropy, and we're all going to fall apart and die, and that's all there is. The universe hasn't worked that way. Instead, the universe has gone to a state of chaos, which wasn't really chaos, the Big Bang, which wasn't really the Big Bang. Again, come join me Thursday. It's a really special interview. But it's gone to a state of higher and higher complexity, of higher and higher frequency, or of, to me, I look at it from the perspective of music, to a more beautiful, more elaborate, more sophisticated symphony playing a higher and higher note or crescendo each and every moment as the universe expands, as the universe grows, as the universe knows, and as the universe is alive and watching herself at an even higher level. In other words, we are part of an intelligent universe, or an intelligence, or a field that knows its time, is aware of herself. Sort of like Gaia, Mother Earth is aware of herself. There is so much science supporting this now. Mother Earth is aware of herself, and she's doing her best to keep us alive. She's been here for 4.5 billion years. She'll probably be here a lot longer than us. She's doing her best to keep her children alive, even though her children are playing with matches. There's a wisdom of the universe, Mary, you hit the nail on the head, that says now is the time. Now is the time for the truth to come out. And I believe now is the time that the truth has to come out because of the matches we're playing with and because of our ability to go, as Hannah Bear said earlier in the show, oops, if we're not careful with things. So Angie asks, did they give a timeline of when they recovered UFO incidents, or was it more general and no specifics? So this is a brilliant question, Angie. They definitely go back, specifically David Grusch goes back to the original event that we all know about, Roswell, and the crash of alien spacecraft in New Mexico. I believe that was in the 50s. And how that was done with a cover-up and a cover-up and a cover-up, and the story changed. And it was, at first it wasn't a UFO, and then it was a balloons, and it was this, and it was that. And if you read, I think the 1990s articles, and David talks about it as well, it's clear that if you're discerning, none of it makes any sense. That we know of, at least in the US, is when we started a known recovery process. If you go back to Italy, it's the 1930s that it was more, that it was a recovery process had started. Now, David Grusch, who's being discredited in traditional media for not coming forward, has said to congressmen and congresswomen and congressmen and congresswomen and congressmen and congresswomen, I will go not off the record, I will go fully on the record in a skiff, in a safe environment where I will not divulge top secret information that would get me put in jail or put people in harm's way. I will give you this information. You want it, I've got it. You want it, I've got it. You want it, I've got it. And he was one of the top guys in all of the UAP research for the US military, for the US government, with top secret clearance that could go anywhere at any moment. And he's got that information and he has those documents, but he can't bring those forward to us. Why? Because of the top secret nature of it. Would I like it to all come forward? Absolutely. Does he believe a lot more can come forward than's being shared? Yes, a lot more. All three of them agreed there was a lot more that could be shared that didn't need to be hidden, but he couldn't go into more specifics on the timeline than that. Ooh, Jane Seeley. Is there really anything that can be done to bring the dark forces into check and track down the billions of dollars? Yes. Yes, Jane. First off, we can go to our elected leaders and we can gently nudge, nudge, push, push, love, love, say, do something about this. And if enough people say, do something about this, and we are the voting public and they want to stay in office, they will do something about it. And we can talk about it and we can share about it and we can envision it all coming out. This is what I was talking about a few minutes ago with Chip. We can see it coming out. You probably don't realize this, but your imagination is all powerful, Angie. Your imagination is all powerful. If you can image it imagine into beingness, you can bring it about. If you play a movie in your mind, Angie, a TV show in your mind, or the most interesting, go with a dark conspiracy show. But at the end of the dark conspiracy show that you're watching in the TV of your mind, you see it all coming out into the light. Well, guess what, Angie? If enough of us do this, this comes out into the light. The most important thing here, do not be against anything, Angie. Do not be against anything. That gives the darkness power. That's what fear, that's what worry, that's what anxiety, that's what anger. To be angry, you need to be a victim. They did this to me. I'm not saying tonight, not one iota of one sense in one bit, they did this to you. No, man. They help bring the slingshot back to help send us all forward, hearts open, going, wow, something really cool and special and incredible is coming of this. Before the truth coming out, before the free energy, before our cosmic brothers, before us taking our rightful place on a universal galactic stage rather than a man-made, you fight against me on this one tiny little blue dot stage. That's how we bring this about. And I think I said Angie when I should have said Jane. I love you both. Billy, what do we do with it when we realize it? Now, Billy, I'm guessing that you're not meaning realize about UFO and UAP. More that when you realize the greater itness, the greater story, the greater understanding of all of this. Billy, to quote many a great Zen master, before enlightenment, we'll call it before it, chop wood, carry water. After it, chop wood, carry water. We are all enlightened masters. We are all on the other side of what we call this veil, completely understanding, completely seeing, completely knowing, also completely learning at a much higher level. And we come here and we forget all of it until we start to remember it. But once we start to remember it, we don't go, oh, check, please take me home. We get to use it, Billy. Use it for good. Use it for joy. Use it for love. Use it for light. Every single toddler out there wants to help another toddler. Hannah Bear wants to help us put things away. She wants to give things to us. She wants to feed us. It's crazy. She wants to take care of us. That's our true nature. It's the ultimate in paying it forward, Billy. As we start to understand who and what we are at a higher level, we grow this desire inside of ourselves to help even more at a higher level. And you become fully and completely unstoppable, Billy, in helping everyone and everything around you. That's what we get to do once we realize it. From Jim Fisher. Oh, man. And I've got so many people to thank from donations. How does it get any better than this? And I'll take just a few more questions after Jim Fisher if there are a few more coming in from my team here. Do they love God? Jim, that is a brilliant, brilliant question. Yeah. I don't know if they love God the way that you may describe it, Jim. Each brave soul who stepped forward, each one of the 748 that are stepping forward, every person, every whistleblower, everyone involved in getting the truth out, they're not doing it out of an egoic sense of, I want to be famous. I want to be great. I don't see that at all. Watch David Grusch. That is not at all what his beingness, his energy, his feeling state is about. They're doing that because they love their fellow man, their fellow woman, their fellow human being. They're doing it out of love. And love for another, to me, is the highest level of, is loving God, is loving, well, if we go to Bible, for instance, we're made in his creation, whatever that means. We are God incarnate, not meaning that we are bearded dude up in the sky, for instance, but meaning that we are this field of love and light. We are the everything. We are a part of the everything. When we treat everybody like those brave souls who have come forward are treating us. Oh my God, talk about a love for God. Talk about a love that is, they're putting their absolute lives on the line to get the truth out, to help you and me. If that's not a love of God, I don't know what is. Oh, Casper. Yes, before I even get to the question, yes, they do, but I don't always listen. I have my own obscurations. Casper, do spirit guides answer your question almost instantly? Yes, and I have to, be willing to listen, discernment. That's the number 222. If you've got that, it's about discernment and stepping forward. It becomes a matter of discernment, and it becomes a matter of recognizing my filters. That's a lot of what we're talking about here this evening, Casper, is there are filters from the press that are taking beautiful stories and manipulating it to keep us in a state of fear. If you go, well, there's no, the big bad press wouldn't want to do that. Well, just look at this. If there wasn't a Democratic Party and a Republican Party, and if there wasn't a you and there wasn't a me, who'd buy the papers? They want to stay in business. It goes a lot deeper than that, but they want to stay in business by pitting us against them. But that's a filter. You and I have those filters in our minds as well. So I get answers, all great channels. Do I call myself a great channel? I don't know. That's a good question. Guess so. But all great channels will have their own filters, which is why it's good not to go to just one and take that answer as gold or as the gold standard. Go to many, get a more global answer, because every channel, every medium will have their own filter system based on their life experience. Now, that we do the best we can to step outside of it and to be the clearest channel. But chances are, if you got a pulse, you still have your own skin in the game. So my job is to become a clearer and clearer vessel and listen more carefully moment to moment, because the answers do come, but I have to go, and what's the filter, Michael, that you're hearing it through? Ooh, S. Gray. What a brilliant question. And first, S. Gray, before I get there, I want to thank some people who've given some amazing donations here tonight. Dylan Savage, thank you. Savage, thank you for your kind donation. How does it get any better than this? Dylan, I'm your instant fan as well, and love you, man, as well. Amanda Simpson, love you too. Thank you so much, Amanda. How does it get any better than this? Oh my God, Brenda. So much love to you as well. So much love, so much love. And the Gray Wizard, I am sending you so much love as well. Thank you so much, all of you, for your kind donations and generosity. Ask Gray, brilliant question. How does the Mandela effect relate to alien life here on Earth? Wow. There are many different levels of the Mandela effect at play. So the Mandela effect is when group consciousness shifts, or when, for instance, we all thought a song ended one way, and suddenly we find out it ends a different way, and we go, huh? We all thought something was said, life is like a box of chocolates, was said one way, and then I don't even remember what the Mandela effect is. Life was like a box of chocolates or something. Is the other way. It's when what we thought as a global beingness was truth, all of a sudden gets changed. And part of that is done as a wake up call. And the reason the Mandela effect has been going so crazy lately, and you can Google this, and I've had show after show, brilliant shows recently about the Mandela effect. The reason, brilliant meaning what's coming out, the reason that this seems to be on an accelerated path right now is the same reason that UAPs seem to be on an accelerated path. It's a process of waking us up. This is huge. Now, are there dark forces at play that want to keep us dumbed down and take the power away from certain things? Sort of like, there is a brilliant line in not Bull Durham, in Field of Dreams. If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come. Actually, it was originally, if you build it, they will come. And it became, if you build it, he will come. And something was taken, the power was taken out of that by the, if you build it, he will come. Well, what's the importance of that? There are other statements like that. We are the champions of the world. Actually, it's the end of that song by Queen, sung by Freddie Mercury. We are the champions, raises his hand, of the world. That has a very different energy to behind it than just, we are the champions. So I don't know how it is done, but you have the Mandela effect that is being used as both a wake-up tool and the Mandela effect that is being used as a disempowering tool. It is our job to be discerning as to which is which. And that's your job stepping forward here. And as we wrap this up here tonight, and of course, if you want to join me in the School of Mystics, everybody on the side who's in the School of Mystics can say how much it's been shifting their lives and bringing them into the light. I will help bring you into the light. I will help you be more discerning. I will help you to be able to see the truth from a higher level, not from a place of fear, worry, and anxiety. That ain't what I'm about. Truth be told, that's not what you're about. You may have been told that. You may have been told you're a skeptic. You may have been told you're, oh, we have a baby book around. Oh, hold on. You may have been told that you are a pouty fish with a pouty face, and you bring the dreary wearies all over the place. The truth is, you've got the biggest smile in the world. You just don't know it yet. That is who and what you truly are. So you take away from this tonight, be more discerning, bring things to love and light, be for something, step forward, take action, exist in this state of love and light, glow in this state of love and light, grow in this space of love and look at it and don't go, oh my God, they could do this false flag and this and that and the other. No. You go, wow, 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 the truth is coming out. Wow, 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 we can do something. Wow, wow, wow. It is in my lifetime that I'm finally going to meet extraterrestrials or see extraterrestrials, or we're going to get this free energy technology, or we're going to fly to other planets, or that all of the cool stuff that we've seen in science fiction, not the wars. You notice how science fiction is it's all disempowering. It's not supposed to be that way. You see all this cool stuff that we thought was fantasy that is actually true. How does it get any better than this? That's the game as the creator you get to play. That is the highest level game. That is who and what you are. Somebody says, I like Mark Wenham, the toot fish better. Well, we do have a book on tooting. So thank you, Mark. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for thank you so much for being you. Thank you for so much for putting yourself in this safe, energetic space and carrying that forward. I'd love to see you Wednesday in the School of Music. Oh, that's interesting. The School of Mystics. I want you to share your music, share your love, and share your light with the world. And yes, as Randy said, we know ETs. We just forgot, Randy. You couldn't be more pure truth was never spoken. And yes, we are the ETs as well. And how does it get any better than this? Love you guys so much. And a mighty woohoo. Said a little quietly because the baby girl is now asleep. Love you guys so much. Rock this, rock this, rock this. You've got it. And let's support everyone out there for getting out the truth in love and in light. Woohoo. Night, everyone.
Every day there's a new horizon. Birds keep on singing, earth keeps on spinning. Time to toss any fears they rule you. Dance to vibrations, no limitation. Shine, hold the sunlight on your chest and fly. Look to the sky, let your spirit shine brightly, shine brightly. Oh, shine. Share the magic deep in your soul. Feel glitter around you. Live your greatest truth. Catch those dreams, swimming beside you. Yours for the taking. No more just waiting.